David Gregory had a seemingly perfect life, a beautiful wife, Julia, two gorgeous children, Ethan and Beth, a great job that he loved as an ad exec. Everything was perfect, except that it wasn't. David had a secret. David was having an affair. He met Cordelia when she started working as his partner's secretary. The minute she walked into the room, tall, red hair, green eyes, he could not stop looking at her. As he began to get to know her, he found that she wasn't just beautiful, but she was intelligent and funny, kind-hearted and warm. David loved her as much as he thought that he could love another human being that wasn't his child. After they'd been seeing each other for about 6 months, Cordelia began to want more from David than the occasional weekend away or a night in the city. She wanted him to leave Julia for her. David was torn. He loved Julia. She was a great mom. Everyone loved her. She was a wonderful wife. They began dating in high school, and he could barely remember a time when she wasn't in his life. Could he throw that away? Break up his family? Betray them like that? But wasn't he already betraying them? Where was that line? As long as they didn't know, it wouldn't hurt them, right? But he'd already began making more excuses for working late or needing to stay in the city. He even told Julia that a cousin was sick and in the hospital and he needed to go see him. Julia wanted to go with him, but he reminded her about the school play that Ethan was in. Told her not to worry. Go to the play. Ethan needs at least one of us there. And she agreed. David took Cordelia on a romantic mountain getaway. The family was being hurt by David's actions. He could see the hurt in Julia's face when he was packing for a long business weekend. He could hear the disappointment in her voice when he called and said he wasn't coming home. Ethan was mad that he hadn't gone to that play, and he was out of town when Beth got her driver's license. But he loved Cordelia so much that his heart ached when he was away from her. He didn't know what to do. On his way home from work one night, he decided that he would tell Julia about the fair, that he needed Cordelia in his life to be happy, and he wanted Julia to be happy, and the kids would eventually understand, right? When he pulled into the driveway, Julia's sister was there. The kids were getting into her car, and she barely made eye contact with David, or maybe she did, but David was feeling guilty. Julia walked out and handed Ethan his basketball. She told David that her sister was taking the kids so that they could have a romantic night in. Oh boy, thought David, rethinking his plan. The kids left, and when David walked into the house, he smelled that Julia had made dinner. It smelled delicious. The table was set with her best china. 2 glasses of wine were poured, 2 candles and flowers adorned the table. Julia told him to sit, and she brought out several dishes. David's sweet potato casserole, which he loved, braised green beans with olive oil, sea salt, and black pepper, some type of casserole. She scooped out the food onto his plate and kissed him on the forehead. He felt guilty. He thanked her for the lovely meal, and they began to eat. Everything was delicious. Julia was watching him. She ate the sweet potatoes and pushed around the green beans, taking sips of her wine. David told her that this was the best meal she'd ever made, and she smiled. She stood up, picked up his plate, and cleared it off into the trash. David asked her then what the other dish had been, as he didn't recall her having made it before. "Oh," she replied, "you liked it?" He said yes, and asked again. She had her back turned to him, washing the plate. "Well, it's quite special, rare even. I call it baked Cordelia."